Hi everybody, welcome to another Friday afternoon, where I am anyway, session on Genos 2. We're going to sort of carry on where we left off last time, but from time to time I have a few people emailing me asking about the actual setup that we use for the webinars. Now, it may not be of interest to all of you, but let me just put the comments screen on, and then I'll show you what's new here. There we go. I can actually see the comments coming up now. Now, there's a reason for some of the changes I've made for this upcoming webinar and for future. We used to have, you couldn't see it, but beyond us, beyond the keyboard, we used to have a monitor. The problem is, both Andy and I, the old eyesight's starting to fade, and the problem is, whilst I can use these reading glasses and I can read me bit of music and I can see all the buttons quite clearly on the keyboard, I couldn't see. I couldn't read the comments that were coming up on the monitor, and I hate doing this, you know, where you have to sort of peer over the edge of your glasses. So what I've actually done is had a bit of a change around, and much to my wife's disappointment, I've been out spending money again, and I just want to show you by means of my phone here what's going on. Now, if any of you have an iPhone, you might be interested to know this. In the settings, you have a thing, and it's under AirPlay and Handoff, I think it's called. You have a thing called Continuity Camera. There it is, it's kicked in. So hopefully you can now see my iPhone sort of taking you around the studio a little bit. So there's my iPad. That's where we read the dots from. This is the new edition. I've put myself a little touchscreen monitor that I can put and rest on the music rest. That means I can actually read the comments now. So that's good. So you might get some response from me from now on. Obviously, there's the keyboard. Look, there's my MacBook, which is running the live stream. We've got our audio mixer there. For what it's worth, we've got another keyboard down here, which enables me to sort of switch the view. The bit I never show anybody, and I'm going to show you it, I'll have to go off the microphone to do it, but is the mass of wires that's needed to put this together. So excuse the mess, but we'll just go around the back end. There you go. I did say it was a mess. Let me disconnect this camera now, so you've seen what's sort of going on. There we go. We're back on now. So let me put the iPhone into airplane mode so we don't get disturbed. And there we are. So yeah, that's how we do it. I'm trying to cut down on the number of wires, but you can't, unfortunately. All the things we're trying to do for you. So look, let's change the view so that you can see what's going on. Again, I've changed the view on here just so that I can have a comments window up in the top right hand corner of my little display. Hi everybody who's on, and thanks for putting the comments. That at least means we're working. So yeah, we're here again with Genos 2, and what we did last time, and as I said, we'll continue it this time. It's just going to be nice and relaxed. It's sort of anything could happen afternoon. We've just finished work on our software package. So if you don't mind, I'm going to show you a few bits and a few examples from that. It's going to be available in about a week's time. I'm just putting together a PDF booklet, etc., to go with it. But whilst we're going through that, rather than just do it as a blatant demonstration, we're just, like we did last time, we're just going to discuss some of the things that I do, the way my mind works, and we'll go through. Now, look, if you don't own a Genos, and you own a Korg or any other product, a lot of what we're talking about will apply. So, you know, please don't switch off if you don't have a Genos. It's just, I'm using the Genos because we've just completed this software package. So the first little one, you may have had a sort of sneak preview when you looked at my iPad. Seems appropriate, really. It's one by the Carpenters called We've Only Just Begun. Now, if I sort of show you where we're at with this software, hopefully you can see that on the screen. We've created, amongst a lot of other things, 10 registration banks here. So we've got 60s hits, and if you click on that, there are 10 well-known 60s hits. Each one of those will then fill all 10 registration slots. So in total, there's 1,000 registrations there straight the way for you. This one we're actually taking from the 70s bank. There it is. We've only just begun. Now, for the purpose of today, I'm going to use my demo registrations, just purely because what I've done is I've done like a watered-down version of everything so that I can just do some quick videos for YouTube. So if you see, We've Only Just Begun is only showing 6 registrations. Trust me, if you do have the software, it will have the full complement of 10 registrations. So let's just dive straight in with some little hints and tips for you. The style I've used, actually the name sort of suggests it, 70s pop duo. Now, I know there was a lot of pop duos in the 70s, but actually the Carpenters must sort of rank as one of the most iconic duos of the time. We just had a question in there. Unfortunately, I can't do the step editing on this webinar because we've already got this webinar, but I will make a note of it, and I promise you, and I'll keep you informed, we'll do that in the next webinar. So we've only just begun. If you think back to the last webinar, we talked about learning your style and making sure that you've sort of auditioned, let's use the word auditioned, all 3 intros, all 3 endings, because they can be completely different. If I play you ending 3 on this style, let's have a listen. That is a great intro. The problem is it's not We've Only Just Begun. Let's try intro 2 and let's see how different that is. Yeah, that's the one I've chosen to use. Now, you may or may not be able to hear this, but I can hear that that's actually going to fit with the proper intro to We've Only Just Begun, because the proper intro goes like this. And then it just repeats. So, even if you can't hear it, try it, because once you get a style that you think, oh, do you know what, I know the song that was written for, try playing that intro over their intro. Let's just see if it works. I know it does actually, but let's make out I don't. Let's just try it. It goes like this. There you go. Now we have got a totally dedicated intro to We've Only Just Begun, and it's lovely because they've got those little vocal harmonies going on, which was a Carpenter's thing, and we've got that little solo oboe. What I would then do is immediately go into another sound so that we've got a contrast between the intro and the main part of the tune, because guess what the first line of the main tune is? It's just a repeat of the intro. It just goes. So there we go. So what I would do is change sound, and I've chosen piano because you associate Richard Carpenter with the piano. We've then got a sort of sound that we discussed last time, and that's this mixture of strings and horns, and it gives you this lovely sort of pop orchestra type sound. Gone for something a bit more unusual in one of the other registrations, and that's a rock guitar. And you think, well, what place does that have with the Carpenters? Well, if you have a listen to their song Goodbye to Love, it probably has one of the most iconic guitar solos of its era in there, and it was done on this sort of soft but rocky guitar type sound. So let's do that, and when you hear me trigger the ending, we've actually worked out that the ending actually matches me playing over it as well. So look, here's just a little short version of We've Only Just Begun using some of these registrations. So there you go. With a little bit of care and a little bit of work, it all sort of comes together. Let me give you another example, and this is going to demonstrate one of our new styles. Now, we've actually given you in this pack 95 brand new styles, and I think this one is on page 8. And it's a little thing called Silence is Golden. This goes back to the 60s. And let me just get the music up, because I've played this through once actually so far. So let's have a look for it. It's going to be here somewhere. Why can't I find it? There it is. Silence is Golden. So we'll do that. Now, again, the ending on this is actually the chorus, because what they do is they just keep playing the chorus round at the end. So again, by auditioning the ending, I won't play the whole thing, but if you just have a listen. You can hear it's got the chords, and it's got that sort of vocal harmony thing in the background from the Tremolo's original. The intro is the original intro. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to play the first bit, and then when I get to the chorus, you'll see me trigger the ending, and we'll actually play along with the ending. And it gives us a totally dedicated style. there we go. So, yeah, so some nice styles. Somebody's just asked about big band stuff. So I will just show you another couple of our styles, just so you can see the sort of quality of the styles. Got one here called medium big band. Hi David. Yeah, I don't know whether you joined a little bit late. The software package will be available in about a week's time. I'm putting together quite a big PDF booklet to go with it, where I'll be listing all the styles. We've created some new sounds for you. We've created some new pads. We've done all the registrations, and I'll put some little ideas of what to play with it. So this is just a little thing called The Odd Couple. I don't know whether you remember that. Great film and a great TV series, actually, with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, I think. Showing my age again now. But yeah, just have a listen to this style. Bit of big band for you. Okay, bit of a different sort of band now. Just picking the one. I'm just picking a few at random here. This is the one above it. It's called Marching Band. It goes like this. There you go. So, that's the sort of quality of the styles that we're now able to produce. Now we've got a lot more used to the style writing system on the Yamahas. Just going to show you one. Well, we'll come back to the styles later, but just one more. If any of you are watching from the UK, I'm sure at some point you will have seen this film. If you're watching from elsewhere, and it's lovely to see we've got people elsewhere, all around the world. This came from a very British film called Genevieve many years ago, and Genevieve was a car. And it was about this vintage car taking part in a vintage car rally, which I think still takes place to this day, which sees vintage cars go from London down to the south coast to Brighton. And as I say, typically English film, but what made it stand out for me was that throughout the film, we had the music score featuring that incredible harmonica player, Larry Adler. And he actually wrote this theme tune, and this is our little style to go with it. So, by the way, every style that you get, you also get 4 one-touch settings. So there's nearly another 400 settings there to go with the styles, and I've made them different to the registrations that appear. So we're up to, as near as damn it, 1,400 registrations are going to be in this pack. So hopefully there'll be something you like along the way. So this is just a very little snippet of a thing called Genevieve Waltz, and have a listen to that lovely harmonica of Larry Adler. There we go. So I think it's a lovely little tune, that, and you just don't hear it very often now. So yeah, that's Genevieve. Let's go back, if we may, to this main bank of registrations that we've got. And again, I'm going to come to the Latin stuff, which somebody's requested. We've got a whole bank there called Latin Fiesta. We've got Organ World, we've got Pops Orchestral, we've got Easy Listening, we've got Swing Time, we've got Country Hits, we've got At the Movies, and then we've got 60s, 70s, and 80s. I could have gone on, but you have to stop somewhere. So maybe we'll have a part 2 with some of the others on. So let's just go in here. Let's just close that down, if I may, for a second. This is one. Just want to do. Let me just check where it is. Yeah. This is something a little bit different, and it appears in our 80s bank, and it's the Phil Collins song "In the Air Tonight." And again, this is a case of sort of learning your style, because I don't know whether everybody realizes this, but you can actually program a drum break into a registration so that when you switch to that registration, that drum break will come in. Now, this song has probably one of the most iconic drum breaks of all time, really. Because it starts so slow, and then you get this huge drum fill that takes you in. So again, I'm going to keep this fairly short. We don't need to do the whole thing, but this is just to give you an idea of the type of thing that we're aiming at for you. Here it comes. There you go, something a little bit different. But these things are great. And, you know, the more I sit and play this Genos, that sort of era of sounds, there is nothing to touch it. It's great. And to be honest, it's a refreshing change for me to be able to perform these sort of songs with those authentic sounds, because we've not had access to this sort of quality of sound before. And some of these styles, this 80s analog ballad, it is just perfect. And I hope you heard them when I went to registration 6. In kicks that iconic drum break there. And yeah, the rest is history, as they say. So let's have a look at something else. Let's see if we can change the mood again. Yeah, let's go to a sort of 70s one here. This is sort of my teenage years, I suppose. I remember very, very fondly loving the music of Neil Sedaka, who really stood the test of time. Obviously, well known in the late 50s and 60s for all these sort of, let's call it bubblegum pop, this sort of doo-wop stuff like Calendar Girl, Oh Carol, all those sort of things. And then he lost favour when the rock bands came out. And actually, it was this song that actually saved him. This sort of resurrected his career. And the interesting thing is, at the time this record was recorded and released, he was actually working in working men's clubs in the UK. Gone had gone the big sort of concert venues and that. He was just working in very, very ordinary working men's clubs, and then all of a sudden had this hit. That's today's interesting fact. Thought you'd like that. But yeah, lovely song again, Laughter in the Rain. And again, as soon as you hear the intro, it's even got that lovely string line in, beautiful. It's not exact, it's not supposed to be, but yeah, lovely. And the other thing I sort of want to show you here is, and we covered this last time, when I'm using strings, if I just go into the menu and the voice setting, you will, a lot of times when I'm doing this sort of pop string sound, I'll often set them at different octaves because it thickens the sound up and it gives it a lot more presence. And I suppose in reality, you are you're creating this violin and viola situation, and obviously depending on the voice you used originally, it might be violins and cellos, but you're just giving that real sort of thick sound. And the thing is to actually phrase it a bit like you'd sing it. So I wouldn't play this, which is how it's written. I would go, that is subtly different because I'm actually attacking the notes and just making them just a little bit more staccato, and you get this sort of Boston Pops type string sound, which is really nice. Just to prove the point, and I genuinely don't know what's going to happen here. Let's just try intro 3. That is not Laughter in the Rain. And if you remember last week, we said, don't miss out on some great intros by always going to the biggest intro, the biggest ending. It's not always the best one for the particular song you're playing, and you're going to miss some little gems. And this one here is a little gem. It's called Laughter in the Rain. There you go. So, and as I said, on the authentic version of the software, all 10 of those will be actually filled in there. Let's let's go back to the 60s with the next one. Little song by the Mamas and the Papas. It's called California Dreaming. And the, again, I've sort of tried to capture the sounds of that era, and obviously the Mamas and Papas was, quite a great harmony vocal group. So we've gone for, some nice vocal sounds. And also this jazz flute. It's a sort of overblown flute sort of sound, but it appeared in a lot of 60s songs. And again, do you remember in the last one we talked about how important effects are and how they can actually transform a sound? Well, you could probably hear there I've got a delay on that flute. And it's got that lovely echo. And once you build the style into that, it actually works really well. We've got a nice 60s guitar, which we need. And then we've got our string sound. I put a little glockenspiel on the top just to give it a little bit of edge. So here we go, a little version of California Dreaming. There you go. Again, there's a great example where the ending, although it's not immediately obvious it's the ending to California Dreaming, the chord sequence is correct. So we can actually keep playing that over the ending. If I just play that ending again for you. So we're finishing on the D minor, the chord. And what you end up with, there you go. What you end up with is a really dedicated thing. So, have you tweaked the factory styles? Yes, I have. Some of them, when I show you in a second, I've actually completely revoiced. So, although you may have the same style, I've actually revoiced it, particularly on some of the organ banks and some of the what's the other bank we've done, like the orchestra bank, the Pops Orchestra, the country ones. In fact, let me show you a couple of the country ones now. I've put some slightly different guitars in there. I've rebalanced the style, not because there was anything wrong with it. You know, some people tend to sort of jump at you and say, well, no, the styles are brilliant. Yes, of course they are, but depending on a certain song you want to play, you know, it may be that you want to rebalance the style. You may want to take a part out. Some of them I've used, like I say, different guitars just to give it a slightly different flavour in there. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's just close this down a minute. Might as well give you a little tip for free here. Little country song, Crazy, Patsy Cline. Oh, yeah, will you be able to use single finger mode? Yes, whatever mode you set it to, because that's a global feature. Yes, all of these will work with single finger chord. Okay, so the song Crazy. Here's just a little, this is away from the software for a minute. This is just a little musical tip, and I was doing this with a pupil the other day, and I thought it'd be a nice thing to share with you. The song Crazy, I've got it in the key of F, but it doesn't matter what key you're in. And basically, if I stop the rhythm a minute, because we don't want that. So it goes from, at the beginning, F to a D7. Now, I'm doing it down in its root position for a reason. What it does on the record, and it's very rarely put in the music, they do a little rundown on the chords. So they go F, everything down a semitone takes you to E, everything down a semitone takes you to E flat, and then down a semitone again takes you to D. Now, I know, strictly speaking, that's not a D7, but you'll get away with just making it a D at that point. So it doesn't sound right at the minute, but this is what you need. You start, and before you go into the D7, you do that little run down, and it works really well. And there's one more bit, and that's in the middle bit. Where are we? It's on F, and it then goes to G. And again, what they do that same trick, but this time they take everything up a semitone, and then up a semitone again takes you to the G. And it gives you a much more interesting and a much more realistic effect there. So let me just play a little bit of the tune just to show you. Listen for these little descending chords. So remember, all you're doing is going down his semitones each time, and it will work out naturally. But play it in its root position, because then you get the correct bass note to go with it. Here's the next one. There you go. So there's a little tip for, and I didn't even charge you for that. It's free. Free. What more can I say? Now, just have a listen again, effects-wise. There you go. I've got that little delay on that guitar, and it's just, and if you've watched some of our hints and tips before, I did this thing that you can do at the end of any country song. When it gets to that very last note, take the guitar, and to do that, I just put the freeze on very quickly so I could go back. Because what I should explain, which I probably haven't made clear, in the registrations, we've pre-programmed the intro in 1, and we've programmed, when you've got the full 10 registrations, we've programmed the ending into number 10. So what I don't want to do is trigger the ending, and then I jump to number 4 for my guitar sound, and of course it will cancel the ending. But if you put the freeze on and then go back to number 4, and all you do as it hits that last chord, you use our little friend, which you can't see because of where I've got the camera, the pitch bend wheel, and you just put it slightly to the left and then bring it back. I mean, it says country all day long, doesn't it? That sort of sound. But the real trick is, and I think we went through this before, is to put the pitch wheel to the left first. So as you strike, it's slightly out of tune, and then it brings it back into tune, and you get that lovely slide guitar where they slide up to the notes. You've probably noticed as well, well, no, you probably can't see it too well, but I've almost got my hand permanently going over to this pitch bend wheel. I use it an awful lot, particularly when you're using guitars, because it's what it's doing. It's picture Hank Marvin playing his Fender Stratocaster. He's got this little silver arm, which is called a tremolo arm, and he's often sort of shaking it, and it creates that vibrato, and you can actually put the notes out of tune as well with that as well. So yeah, I use that quite a lot. What I will do is show you something totally and utterly different now. Let's go to my Pops Orchestra. This is just a bit of sort of Burt Camford. Just want to find the registration I want. Yeah, so it's in the first bank. People forget that, you know, you can use pitch bend on things like trombones, guitars. We can use it on saxophones a little bit, sounds nice. Jazz guitar, lovely. People forget that you can actually use it very, very effectively on vocal sounds, because vocalists can do what they call a scoop up to a note, where, a bit like I'm saying with the guitar, you can actually start out of tune and they just build up to the correct pitch. So, and it's really nice. Oh, somebody just said, can you show what you freeze? Yeah, basically all I'm doing at the only important thing I needed to freeze there was the rhythm. So that, like I said, once I triggered the ending and I went to the others. But maybe for a future webinar we'll do that. I'm not trying to push these things away. It's just that obviously I've got a lot I want to get through. So we'll be here for the next 3 hours as it is. I'm only joking. But yeah, I've still got quite a bit to show you and quite a bit to go through. So again, I'll keep this brief, but look, how do I work out what sounds to use? Sometimes I would just listen to the intros and the endings, and I will listen to the sounds that the Yamaha guys have put in those intros and endings. Let me just digress a minute, because I think this is quite important. We've done some settings for the Chicago song. Now, did I put it in easy listening? No, I didn't. I must have put it in 70s. There you go. Again, the American group, Chicago, huge in the 70s. And this is one of their songs, If You Leave Me Now. Now, I sat here and I thought, do you know what? I've got to put 10 registrations in. What sort of immediately says Chicago? Well, you need some vocal sounds in there. They were also, when you listen to the original recordings, they had a horn section. So we need horns in there. That was of an era, it was fantastic, where you had live brass and horns in these things. So wonderful. So yeah, we need some horns in there. If I just listen to, for example, ending 3, which is the busiest of the endings, let's just have a listen to it for a second. Oh, that's not it. Let me get the registrations. Where are we? There we go. So take ending 3. Now, for those of you in the know, that acoustic guitar sound is very much a 12-string guitar. It's got that very chorusy, almost out of tune. We discussed this last time, that it's almost impossible to keep the 12 strings perfectly in tune all the way through. So you get this lovely, every string is an octave apart. So it's a wonderful sound. So, I would use some 12-string guitar in there. Let's see what else we used. I used a saxophone because a sort of solo sax will fit anything there. We've got the strings, but I've put the vocal in. There's our electric piano. The 70s was the electric piano era. It's there, so 70s electric piano. We've got a lead guitar, which we need. We've got some strings with pop vocals, and then we come to our horns. So all I'm really trying to say is, you can do this for yourself on your own arrangements. If you're thinking you don't necessarily need 10 registrations, but say you just occasionally we get, we can't call it writer's block because we're not writing a song, but registration person's block. And you're thinking, what sound could I use? Actually listen to what they've used in the intros and the endings, and indeed the main bit of the style. And if you're struggling to hear what the sound is, then just highlight the particular part, and let's just have a look. We've got steel guitar there. What have we got in here? We've got a nylon guitar there. You can actually sort of check what they've used in the actual style. There's the horns up at the end there, so it'll give you some ideas. But anyway, back to the plot for a second. Let's just do this Pops Orchestra, this little Burt Camford thing, and it was to show you the effectiveness. I know you can't see it, but if you see part of my hand there, I'm going over to the pitch bend wheel. Just a little bit Burt Camford like this. So we've used brass sounds, we've used muted sounds, we've used some strings, and obviously we're heavy on the vocal sound because that's what he used. go. I do apologise. I'd forgotten. What I've done is built a little transposing on the second 5 registrations there. So that was a very odd key change, but I do apologise. So yeah, what else have we done in here? We've done some Latin. Somebody asked about Latin sounds. We've got all sorts in here. Let's just run through a few of them, just to give you a little sample of them. Girl from Ipanema. We could go maybe to Brazil. Okay, let's do one all the way through from that section. This is a sort of copy of the Michael Bublé version of a little thing called Sway. So let's see if we can just get the music up here. Must have it somewhere. There we go, Sway. So yeah, this is a very much the sort of big band arrangement. Let's just have a look. Yeah, there we go. So this is done to the pop cha-cha rhythm. And just check I've got no transposing. Yeah, so this sort of builds up through gentle little guitars to start with. We've got octave pianos. We've created our own for the reasons I said last time, because you can control better the volume of each piano. Got nice little accordion sound. You can always put that into Latin stuff. We've got a sax section there built up. We've got some guitars, and then in come the horns and the Latin vocals. So have a listen to this little thing called Sway. So there you go. That's using the full 10 registrations. I don't recommend that you need all 10. I just wanted to go through as many as I could to show you. I think, again, we said this last time, often sort of 4 registrations is more than enough for a piece of music. When you listen to arrangements in real life, you don't hear the instrumentation change to the same extent we all tend to do on keyboards, because if you look at the size of the band, you know, we've got guitars, we've got brass section, we've got octave pianos, we've got all sorts going on there, accordion. It's probably a little bit too much, but the reason we've given you the 10 registrations is that you've then got a choice. And not only have you got a choice, you can actually play it a little bit different each time, because one time you could use, you know, maybe the guitars, you could use the accordion, you could use the pianos. The next time you could use more the brass, the saxophones and the brass, and do slightly different arrangement to it. So yeah, look, the other thing I think I need to say, which is really, really important, I've put the titles on basically to give you an idea. Some of them I've put the title because it's blatantly obvious that's what the style is for. But in other cases, I've given you that as an idea. It doesn't mean that is the song you have to play. So if I go to Besame Rumba and we start that off, so let's... That intro is not dedicated in any way to that song. Now, what's to stop me playing any rumba to that? Nothing. So let's... So those suggestions are, well, that's what they are. They are just suggestions. Girl from Ipanema that we just previewed a little bit of, I can play any bossa nova I want to that. Some of them, they are obviously dedicated. So if I go into easy listening and maybe we go to You Are the Sunshine of My Life, the minute I press registration 1 and the intro, there's Stevie Wonder for you. Now again, I'm just throwing this in just to show you how this was put together. Apart from him playing the piano, what's the thing you associate most with Stevie Wonder? It's the harmonica. So I use that as the first instrument because it sort of cements that we're doing Stevie Wonder, and then we can go off into different things from there. But it just brings it all together. Again, I'll only do a little snippet of this, but it goes like this. So, yeah, that one is most definitely You Are the Sunshine of My Life. But I bet you if we go to intro 3, again, I haven't tried this. So. No, that's not as dedicated to You Are the Sunshine of My Life. So we can play. Part of that intro said Up, Up and Away to me, I think. Yeah, I don't know it, but that's sort of said something different to me. So you're not stuck with these registrations. Some of them, let's I don't know. Let's just look at Misty, a song that a lot of people play. Just that lovely, gentle swing. There you go. Again, left-hand voices. Yeah, I do use them, Mick. You're probably not seeing them in lots of registrations. Right, this is probably going to sound a little bit, what's the right word? Rude when I say this, but if you've got a left-hand voice on with the style and somebody accidentally plays a wrong chord, you're sort of overemphasizing the fact that you got it wrong. But let me give you an example where I will use a left-hand voice, but probably not in the conventional way. Let me just go back to my country songs just a second here. Let me see which ones it appears in. No, it's not that one. So maybe it's that one. Let's try that. Oh, got the freeze on. That's probably why. Yeah, there we go. Now, you can see here for Green Green Grass of Home, I've got a left-hand voice. But actually, I'm using it in a different way. And actually, Sue's just made a good point, is that often when you do use a left-hand voice, you've got to keep the volume right down. You've already got a lot going on in the style. And if you look in the styles, one of the sections, well, let's do it. Let's go into the mixer. One of the sections in the styles is called pad. And that often is a sustained sound. So actually, that already is your left-hand voice. So you don't want to overdo it. It will depend on the style, and it depend what you want to do. But I had this idea of using the left-hand voice in a slightly different way. So if you listen to what I'm playing here, that's not playing the full chord. And actually, right on cue, David from the States has just made a real good point there. You can use your left hand, depends on the fingering mode that you do. But if you set it so that it needs at least 3 notes to trigger a chord, once you've played a chord, you can go off and you can play other things with your left hand. But that's getting a little bit more complex and requires a playing technique. This doesn't require any thought. All I've done is made the left-hand voice mono. Therefore, it will play the top note of my chord. And as you change chord, it's automatically giving me a 1-note counter melody to go with the style. Can you just hear that cello in the background? And it's lovely because it just means that you, without thinking about it, you get this lovely sort of counter melody. The country sounds on here, incredible. I'm just going to play just a little bit of this. This will really cheer you up, because this is one of those country songs where you feel like ending it all when you've heard it sung. But actually, in its own way, yeah, it's really, really lovely piece of music. It's called He Stopped Loving Her Today. My advice with a lot of country songs is play them backwards, because the couples seem to get back together, people come back to life, and the dog doesn't get run over. It's brilliant. So yeah, so I'm looking at, this is great because I can actually see the comments this time. Yeah, Alias Muller, an absolute genius at using this left hand to play the counter melody. The reason I don't show it, or haven't shown it so far, is because, and again, I'm saying this with the greatest respect, a lot of people watching have enough trouble playing the right hand, playing the right chord, keeping in time. If we start sort of then saying, oh, well, you can go off and do this with your left hand, then, yeah, it requires a lot more technique. But I'm very happy to cover that in a future webinar if we've got enough people, maybe, just for 20 minutes or so as part of a webinar. I just want you to hear some of these lovely country guitar sounds in here. And again, this is another one where the left voice is used in this mono form just to give us a very subtle but nice counter melody. So this is He Stopped Loving Her Today. there's our little country ending again. I couldn't resist it. Yeah, lovely. And when it comes down to, as I said earlier, those sort of sounds, those guitar sounds, this machine is unrivaled in that, really. Some wonderful stuff in there. Well, look, we maybe do about another 10 minutes or so. I hope you're getting some idea of what this pack is all about that we've done. Let's just do a couple of slightly different things. From At the Movies here, a tune I've played for a long time, so I've just sort of put it in. Speak Softly Love. Again, intro 2 gives us the classic intro to this little piece of music. And I'm using a little voice called the Jazz Casotto. And a Casotto is this little, it's quite a small Italian accordion, used a lot for jazz. So it has a really sweet sound, but it goes really well. We'll build up so that we've got the strings with our mandolin, those sort of things. We've got the octave pianos again, which I love. And this combination of sort of woodwind sounds and strings, great for orchestral stuff. So again, just not the whole song, just a little snippet of it. Speak Softly Love. So there you go. So before we start to go into the last few things, now I'm going to prepare next week. I'm going to prepare lots of little short video clips because we haven't scratched the surface of what we've got in this pack here. If you look at the user styles, you have to excuse the order at the minute because I haven't sort of put them all together. We've done, as I said, 95 new styles. They're all in there covering all sorts of well, let's just pick another one at random just quickly. I love this sort of style of music. In one of the pro webinars we did the piece Georgia, and this style would fit perfectly. It's called Blues Club. So again, I'm just going to use the 4/1 touch settings here. It's a great little style, I think, anyway. It goes like this. There you go. So, only just got in. Well, what can I say? Looks like he's been playing golf, according to his profile picture. So, no, it's lovely to have you on board, Mike. You can all watch this a little bit later if you want to. So, yeah, we've got blues rhythms. We've got big band stuff in there. Let's just flick that one on. Big band shuffle. See what that gives us. So there you go. There's lots of stuff in there. Goes right through. As I say, 95 styles. Each one of those styles will give you 4 one-touch settings. We then go into the main registration bank where, as we showed you earlier, we've got 10 categories. Each of those categories then gives you 10 different themes or songs. And each one of those songs contains all 10 registrations. So 1,000 registrations there, almost 400 with the styles. We've then written some banks of multipads for you. So in the users, you've got some new multipads to go at there. We've also created some new user voices for you, where we've done some nice little editing and put different effects on and things like that. So you've got 20 new edited voices there. And just finally, I don't know whether I've got it loaded in here at the minute, but yeah, we also have 15 brand new Christmas styles, which it's driven me round the bend all through this lovely sort of spell of warm weather that we had recently, sitting here doing Christmas styles. But maybe for another webinar we'll go through that, and that'll be available not just for Genos. We're now working on it for Korg as well, hopefully in time for Christmas. So I hope you've enjoyed today again. I like doing this sort of format actually, where it's very sort of free and easy. Maybe finish with this one because I just love this song. This is a piece from West Side Story, and it's in our movie bank. And we'll leave you with this one. It's a little thing called Somewhere. And where are we? Yes, I have got it. That's good. So yeah, we'll do this one for you. This is another example where I've tried to do something different. If you're lucky enough to own a Genos 2 and you go into movie production, and I think it's on intro 2. That is this classic Barbara Streisand intro that was arranged by David Foster for her, and it just became this iconic intro. Now, it'd be very easy to use Broadway production, but actually you've already got that in the machine. So I've chosen to use Broadway ballad, and yeah, let's just have a go at it. It's been amazing today. We've had well over 50 people on at the peak. I know one or two of you have had to go, and to be honest, I've got to go now because I've got these duties of getting Mum's dinner ready. Bless her, she's. Few people have asked how she is because I'm actually her full-time carer. She's 93, bless her, and you know, she doesn't keep the best of health these days, but she does sit and watch these things. So. Hi, Mum, I'll be in a minute to put your dinner on, so she doesn't panic. Thanks as always for the support. It's lovely to see so many of you on board. I hope you've enjoyed this because I didn't want it to just be a blatant advert for our software. I wanted to talk through a few ideas with you as well. So I'll just leave you with this one. It goes like this. There you go. Thanks. I can't believe we've done an hour and a half. It's absolutely flown by, that has. So keep an eye on the website and keep an eye on YouTube for some more videos. Thank you again. I don't think you realise how much we appreciate the fact that you support us on these things. And we look forward to seeing you. I think we've got one next week with me and Andy, just doing some little concert pieces. And a bit like today, we'll just talk to you about the registrations. We'll use Korg and Yamaha on that day. All I can say is goodbye for now, and thanks for joining us, and take care of yourself. See you soon. Bye.